Hey, Matt Priest here, back with another Footwear Flash briefing. I'm joined by FDRA's Chief Economist, Gary Rains. And Gary, import numbers are coming in, and we are seeing numbers we haven't seen in nearly 20 years. What's the scoop on U.S. footwear imports here in 2020?
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. Indeed, we're seeing some tremendous declines across a range of different products, down some double-digit rates. I think it's really a combination of two factors. It's the impact from the fallout from the coronavirus, and also the impact from the duty increases under List 4A tariffs from the Trump administration against imports from China. And that kind of the two issues combined, the double whammy really is severely crimping the volume of imports coming into the U.S. in just an unprecedented way.
Yeah, and that was March numbers that we saw, I think down 31.4%, the biggest year-over-year decline in 4 years and the lowest amount of volume since December of 2001, to give you any indication of the dramatic impact we're seeing on imports. And this was in March. It doesn't include April. Now, we know that the supply chain was really under threat in March in Asia and February. So curious to know your thoughts on moving forward on the import numbers. Will they get even worse in April, or was the worst of it the March plunge?
That's a great question. Indeed, I do think we're likely to see pretty steep declines again in April as well. Just as you said, the coronavirus wasn't really nearly the threat, even by the end of March, that it was in April. Some maybe 5,000 lives lost by the end of March versus over 100,000 by this point now. Yes, I would expect we'll see a continued steep double-digit year-over-year declines in imports the next couple months, and that will severely curtail forecasts for full-year shipments in 2020.
Now, last question. We usually bring in on any given year, I don't know, 2.4 billion pairs of shoes. That's 7.2 pairs of shoes for every single man, woman, and child. Based on current import projections, what do you think that number will be at the end of 2020?
Through just the first 3 months of the year, we were already down at a double-digit rate. And again, that really didn't take any of the coronavirus impact into account. Just shipments through March, we were expected to be down maybe to 1.9 billion. I think given the impact we're likely to see in April and May in shipments, we're likely to see imports closer to 1.7, 1.8 billion. That would be closer to a 30% year-over-year decline. Again, an unprecedented drop for the industry.
Yeah, and I think the last time we saw those numbers was in 2001, 2002. And so I think that gives our viewers an idea of just the dramatic impact COVID has had on our imports and on the supply chain. I think the next data is April data, import data that comes out in early June. And so we encourage our viewers to be on the lookout for the next Footwear Flash briefing as we cover even further imports. And FDRA members have access to all this data on a continuous basis, and we review these on our weekly coronavirus calls every Tuesday at 2 Eastern. So, Gary, thanks for joining, and we will see you on the next Footwear Flash briefing.